Hi and welcome back to Hiking with me. Today we're on a 7-mile circuit starting at Hemington, doing the Castle Donington Reservoir Trig Walk. We're going to first of all start off by heading over to the old church at Hemington. We're just heading up Church Lane, following the same route villagers once took to reach this medieval chapel. As you can see, there's a signpost there now marking the route that we will be taking. This is about the closest we can actually get to this. It's on private land. Looks like somebody's made a nice little veranda there to sit down and relax. But again, if you want some plums, it'd be interesting if we could actually find who owns it and get some permission to actually have a little look round. Abandoned in the 15th century, it later became Hemington Chapel, an offshoot of Lockington, which we'll be heading to next. The tower collapsed in the 1980s, but enough wall remains to hint its medieval past. Unfortunately, we couldn't look at that church, so we're now going to head off over to Lockington. And there's a nice church there that we can actually have a look round and hopefully find the apophytic markings. We head out of Hemington. As you walk past the ruins, and you're basically going through countryside. You can hear in the distance Donington racetrack. There's a nice little path that we follow around here. It's nice and easy, and this will lead us to Lockington. Do you think this water's going to be all that hilly, being so close to an airport? But surprisingly it is. We've been going uphill all the time. Well, there's that Cliff-on-Trent power station just over there, and as you can see, there's the M1 heading up north and south. And when you first come into Lockington, you go down Kingsgate, turn right onto Main Street, and then you just walk down there for a little bit. Then you go down Church Street, and you'll see the church just appear on your left-hand side. Lockington, the home of the Church of St Nicholas. There's medieval stonework, makes Victorian repairs inside and out. We're going to wander around the churchyard where centuries-old local life is etched in stone. Well, that's a quick and easy one to find. Again, where you got the bench, just look behind it, and there it is. So I think that's our 25th or 26th, like I keep saying on each one. I ought to go back on these videos and basically count up. So if anybody knows how many I've actually done, that'd be a great help. Unfortunately, we can't get inside, it's all locked. That's a shame when you've got these churches all locked up. Like Henry says, in your time of need, you can't actually use what it's there for. Lockington Church shows off elegant Gothic windows and has roots going back to the 13th century. Its 15th century tower holds 12 bells, including the original tenor bell from Hemington Church. From the outside, the stonework and churchyard hints at centuries-old local life. This is roughly in memory of Edward Staples, who died the 17th of April 1697. As you can see, beyond the church, Lockington stretches out with traditional cottages, quiet lanes, and is surrounded by farmland, a peaceful, timeless Leicestershire village, and the faint noise of the racetrack and the airport in the distance. It's amazing, when you're at the top of the hill, all you can hear is the roar of the engines of the planes, and the planes taking off. But once you're actually down here, it's so quiet, and all you can hear in the distance is the cars going round Donington racetrack. Don't know if you can actually hear that. This is a very interesting building, especially that one there. What all that could have been. As you head out of Lockington, you go past that Dale Acre house, and you've got a nice, easy to follow footpath just along here. And our next stop should be coming up towards the airport. Come to a fork in the road saying, by the way to your right. We're going straight on. Just over there are the balancing ponds. They do a lot more than protect the village from flooding. What's amazing is that the whole of this area used to be gravel pits, and now it's a thriving wetland. You'll see reeds, dragonflies, and even kestrel around this area. Once you've gone past the balancing ponds, Just over there, so you've got DHL and all that, but we're going to be turning right and follow the perimeter. Now above it, it's hard to believe this all used to be a gravel pit. From here, the full scale of the transformation is clear. A mosaic of water-filled basins and swaying reeds, the landscape reshaped and softened into a peaceful wetland. When you walk past the balancing ponds and the perimeter of the industrial estate, you'll come to a gate and another path. You turn left there, so you actually are now heading down to the industrial estate and the airport. And we're about, I'd say about a mile from the Trig point. There seems to be a lot of perimeter walks around this area, sort of all up there. We've just taken one of them. Oh, I'll tell you what, these hills are hard work. Every time we go for a walk, I know, like I keep saying, doesn't seem like much, but that's a good old hill. But after walking up this hill, you'll come to an emergency access required at all times gate, and you go through there, and we should hopefully see the airport now. So we're at what's called Hemington Crest now, and just in front of us is the airport and the runway. Never been around here before. And there's the radar dish, made by the old company Marconi, but we're heading in that direction now. I don't know why, but I thought this was being called Donington Reservoir Trig Point. I thought there might have been a reservoir around here somewhere, but it's Donington Rise Trig Point. But on the maps you usually get reservoir abbreviated. Hang on a second. Got that one. Anyhow, getting back onto the, I thought there was Donington Reservoir Trig Point, not Donington Rise. I thought Rise was an abbreviation of reservoir, but it's going to be in here somewhere. Not too sure where the Trig Point is. We're thinking it's around here somewhere, so just going to have a little struggle through here. Obviously, once we find it, it's going to be a lot easier to track it down. But obviously, that was all pointless because there's a little road here that we could have gone down, and it's got to be over there somewhere. I think we've had an old pillbox around here. I think these are from World War II. Let's see if we can actually get in this one. It's always interesting finding these things, and also we can actually get into the field around here. Last time we saw one of these was when we did the walk from Trig Point, and look at that, there's the entrance. Well, the sound's going to be good in here. It sounds like I've actually got extra echo on, but nice little pillbox. I suppose this was designed to protect the Trig Point. If the Henry's gone really thin, because I can't see him in here, he might be hiding behind that post, but I think he's left. And let's go and find this Trig Point. I'm just guessing that this pillbox might have been here because years ago Donington Airport might have been some sort of military airport during the World War II, as they say on Auto Shenanigans, between the second small skirmish. But I'll have to do my research on that. This is an awkward one to find, well, get to at least. It's just in there amongst all this. In fact, there's a path just there. Hen, there's a path along there. Well, this is an awkward one to actually see all the details. There's the, I'll have to take a photo of that. But as you can see, that's my 40th Trig Point. That's the Donington Rise Trig Point. If you're hungry while doing this one, there's plenty of berries around here. And the view around here, not spectacular, but I've seen far, far worse. Bit overgrown. And as you can see, Henry's still trying to work his way over here. Hindsight's a wonderful thing. If you actually do decide to do this Trig Point, your best bet would be to walk all the way around the mound, so you get to the other side, check your OS map, and just head up in the shortest direction, because it's so overgrown around there. It's quite hard work. Now you've got to get back on track. So that's where it is, just up there, just near that bush. So we're now going to try and get back en route. Well, Actually, I don't think we have to climb over this fence, you can actually climb through it. Oh well, this is a nice little find. Didn't expect to find a pub along here. The Nag's Head. I think we might nip in for a quick half. But first of all, there's a car Henry wants to see. After we've had our pint, we come back down to the airport trail. So walk back up the hill, and then you'll see the sign, airport trail. We're going to head down here. So this is all part of the East Midlands Airport. Looks very nice around here. Well, this is interesting. We're just going to have a quick look around the East Midlands Aeropark. It's a museum around here. I'm going to see what you can actually see. It looks quite interesting. Well, this is very interesting. So that's the Vickers Viscount. There's the Falcon Bomber. That looks like the old spy plane. I can't remember what model spy plane it is, but you can see the probe at the front. And the old fire engine. There's the missile hatch. Wow, this is actually really cool. The smell up here is amazing. So this is inside your Falcon Bomber. Not a lot that way. But I think this is where they kept all the bombs. When you start tapping everything feels quite soft. Another museum was here, but it's actually been really interesting walking around here. There's only £5 for adults and £3 for children, but there's a whole range of planes for you to actually see. There's even a workshop that you can actually go into and watch them repairing the planes or restoring the planes. Now that's quite handy. It's now open. So we're going to just have a quick look in here. This is from RAF Bryan Norton, the VC-10. Right.
Hello.
When you leave the airplane museum, you head out to the roundabout and you turn right down Hilltop. And this will lead us into Castle Donington. It's quite interesting looking around that air museum. I'd highly recommend that. It's amazing what you find when you're going for a walk. Here on the High Street in Castle Donington stands the Longwell, a long stone trough once used to water horses on the way through the village. It's fed by a natural underground spring, which still fills it today. It's a quiet reminder of when travellers and working horses paused to drink here many years ago. Another place I've never been to is Castle Donington. First impressions, it's a real nice historic town. Oh well, not too sure what this is, but I'll do my research into it. When you get into Castle Donington, you head down Bondgate, come to where the hotel and the pub is, and you'll come to Market Street, and you turn right up there. But I just noticed a chapel. I don't know if there's going to be any benchmarks here, but you can have a quick look at this place. Turning to Castle Donington at St Edward's Church rises slowly on St Anne's Lane. Centuries of parish life etched into stone. Bus Street evokes coaching inns, clattering horses, and the gossip of pre-age cars, which is a bit different to how it is now, because it's very hard to film around there with the amount of cars that are going by. But now it's time to look for the markings. Obviously, because I'm not a professional, but I'm going to assume that's just graffiti. Well, it's an interesting door, but we've not found any epiphytic markings. But let's see if this door's open. Unfortunately, we didn't find a benchmark at that church, and we went inside, and I don't know vicar, priest, whatever. He asked us what we were doing, and he says, okay, we could film around here. And he said, no, so sorry about that. I'm sure there might be some photos online I can actually find. When you leave Castle Donington, not a very successful look around Castle Donington, it is a nice place to go to. You leave out on the Bryan, which leads to Hemington Hill, and then to Hemington. We're not that far from the car. So as you come into Hemington, you'll see a path just down here, and you turn left down here. And we're going to follow Henry. And if you're lucky, we might even get his little ear. Hang on a second. At this point, we've done 6 1/3 of a mile, and I think the car is parked over there. In fact, you should see the church around here somewhere. So when you take that little shortcut off Hemington Hill, you go down through the field, and it brings you back out onto Hemington Hill, past what looks like the old manor house. And just here's the old monument, and we're going to be turning right, and that's where we park the car. Well, thank you for joining me on this walk. It's not been the longest walk. In fact, it's been a pleasant 6.5 miles. We filled in quite a lot, going to see all the plains. We didn't really get to see any churches. We missed out on some benchmarks, but after all that, we're back at the car. So hopefully you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching, and bye.